Hey everybody, it's Philip M. Meshweaver here again, and today, this is just a quick video really, or hopefully a quick video, and I just wanted to go over the changes I've made to my car paint shader in Cycles. Now I tweeted about this yesterday. I spent about 2-3 hours reorganizing the whole thing, and I think I still have the original car paint shader here. Yeah, I still have it there, so I'll be able to compare the two. But yeah, as I said, I tweeted about this yesterday, and I thought it would be a good idea to just create a quick video going over how I reorganized the entire shader. Now, as you can see here, this is the shader itself, and it's got 8 different values, and I'll probably add a few more once I improve the actual physical realism of the shader, because right now it's pretty nice, but I find it's lacking a certain something. As you can see, I've got my cycles set to GPU render up there, and we're also seeing some pink here, which is due to the flakes, but I'll get into that later. So I've set this to GPU renders just so I can keep track of what's going on in the viewport, and you can see the changes in real time. So I'll just switch this over to the other side, make this a bit bigger. Whoops. There we go, and zoom out a bit. There we go, and my GPU is running like crazy. The fan is running like crazy. Yeah, it's running at 61 at the moment, 61%. But anyway, so this is the shader right here. As you can see, I've got a colored green. I've set a custom color for it, which is a group. And whenever a node group has this color, it means I can tab into it and get into the nodes. So I actually can hide this. There we go. So as we can see, this is the group itself. This is Car Paint Color version 2. So I've got a group input. I've got a couple of color modification nodes here, which I gave a value to. I can't remember why. I think I was trying out the color values for different nodes. And these plug into the Car Paint Mix. And the Car Paint Mix, what it does is it's how all the nodes interact together and how the gloss interacts with the diffuse, how the flakes get added to the diffuse and the gloss, and that's basically how I organized it. And I've basically created a lot of groupception here, or nodeception. I still haven't seen that movie, by the way. Yeah, so all these inputs come and plug into this central Car Paint Mix node here, and then this mixes with diffuse, which is mixed with back-facing. Now, back-facing is like these inside faces here. Those are the back-facing faces because they are opposite of the normals. Let me just grab a drink of coffee here. There we go. Oh, I forgot to start my system monitor just to make sure I'm not making everything crash. What's that noise? I think I heard a cat. Anyway. So yeah, these mix together and they go out to the final shader, which comes out to the material output, which is right there. But, oh, okay, I get it. It's my cat. It's our cat meowing. Just a sec. There we go. Just put my headset back on, and there we go. So yeah, as I was saying, the Car Paint Mix is basically the main node, and the exterior node is really just like a user interface and how the Car Paint looks in the end. So if I go into the Car Paint Mix, you can see I've got a few more colors here, a few more colored nodes. I've got some brown ones, which are shaders, I think, shader nodes. I should probably continue assigning these colors just so I can find them later. Yeah, but each shader node has this brown color in this group, and unfortunately I didn't do it in the other ones. But yeah, we can see here the group input, which is from this box here. You can see it in the background. It takes the paint color 1 and paint color 2, which I forgot to mention are generated. It takes the base color, which is input here. I can change it to green, and you can see it updates in real time. And the base color then goes through 2 nodes. It goes directly to the paint color 1 and the base color gloss, or the base gloss color, and This then, the color is also put through a hue saturation value to make it a bit darker, I think. Yeah, to make it a bit darker. And this goes into paint color 2. And it also goes through a mix node with a white, just plain white, to make the final gloss color. Now I can turn this up, and it does affect how the final result looks. So I will probably be adding another input to this just to make this easier to deal with so I can actually customize it. But that will be coming soon. I'll probably do that a bit later today. But yeah, getting back into this, these inputs now take the colors and bring them into the base color group node here, and the flake color as well. And not all card materials have paint flakes, but in general they have like these little speckles of stuff. It makes the card paint shiny. Even if it's just like a Toyota Yaris, it'll have that little glossiness. And the nice thing is I set it up so I can determine the size and the gloss amount, so I can make them like really small so they almost don't appear visually. But anyway, I've got the flake size and gloss exactly like I mentioned here. They come into this other group node, which is how the flakes, which is actually a Voronoi texture, how it interacts with, or how the size is mapped and how it interacts with the gloss. And this right here is the gloss amount, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to double check. It's plugged in here. But yeah, the flake size, I've managed to sort of reverse it, because if I just take this multiply node and put it in, like put in as flake size, like, whoops, not like that, like this, what this basically does is it takes the bigger the value here, the smaller the flakes, I think. Yeah, that's it. And I had to reverse it because I wanted the small value to represent small flakes. So I basically took, whoops, get out of there. I took the flake size value, which is input through this node here, and the flake gloss, which is the same. Right now it's set to 0.2. Let me just go back in there. And it basically subtracts 1 from it, because the maximum is, I've set the value here as a maximum of 1 and a minimum of 0. So it's basically anywhere in that range, and it subtracts 1 from it. So let's say right now it's 0.2. It'll subtract 1, and it'll give us minus 0.8. And the odd thing with the cells is that the bigger the number, the smaller the cells, the flakes are. So that's why you get a bigger number. And then I multiply this by minus 1 again, because two negatives together gives you a positive if you multiply them together. And I think if you divide a negative as well, but I can't remember. Or, no, you get a positive, that's right. And then this is used to multiply the value. So it gives us a value of 800 instead of 1000. And the smaller the number here, the bigger the flakes. So that's how it kind of reverses. It's an inverse proportion, and it's a bit strange. But I had to do that just to get the smaller number equals smaller flakes set up. And I did the same down here for the gloss amount, and that's pretty much the same. It's actually exactly the same, except that the base value for the gloss is a gamma of 7.5. If I unplug this, you see, oh, it's set to 3.25. The default is 7.5. And the problem with this shader is that I can't remember why I built it the way I did. And I think it's because it was based off of Jonathan Williamson's shader in his rendering a sports car tutorial with the Ferrari model. I can't remember which Ferrari model it is. I think it's it's one of the recent ones. I can't remember. And I call myself a car geek. But yeah, this flakes mix then comes into the base color node. Now this color node will mix with a few other things, but we'll go into this one first. The group input, which is again these paint color 2, flake color, or paint color 1 and 2, flake color 1 and 2, and the flake size. And the flake size actually comes in over here. I've duplicated the inputs in a lot of cases, just so I wouldn't have all these lines crossing all over the place. And it keeps things nice and clean. If they're just here, I would wish these wouldn't cross over each other, but what can I do? They're going to have to cross over at some point. But yeah, these paint colors then come into this mix node, and it blends them basing on what on the facing. So it's going to be darker at the front and lighter at the back, if I'm not no, darker at the back and lighter at the front, if I'm not mistaken. But I would have to play around with these just to remind myself how I built this. Like I said, I built this a while back. I think it's like about a year ago. So I can't remember why it's all set up like this. But yeah, the flake color then comes into another mix node, which is again mixed on based on facing, except this one's a bit higher. So it uses the second color more than the first color. And these are then used as a color for the glossy BSDF here, or Blender Shader something. I don't know what that stands for. I would have to look that up. I think I did look it up once, but I forgot. And these are what's it called? The roughness is based on a Fresnel set to 1.45, which is, if I remember correctly, is the refraction value for glass. So it gives us a refraction in the glossiness, which cars do have. And then these, the diffuse and the glossy, this I should assign its color to while I'm here. There we go. This mixes with the glossy down here based on how the flakes are determined. Now the thing with these gray values, if you're not familiar with Cycle's nodes, is that a gray value is basically a mathematical value, and in this case it is basically ranging from 0 to 1, or if I draw a timeline here, 0 to 1, and this value can be anywhere in this range, and it's basically like black and white. So how these colors blend together and blend between each other is how the color is mapped. So sometimes you'll have a sharper edge or a sharper shader difference. This makes no sense, but I'll just go along with it. If you get a nice sharp definition between white and black, you will get a sharp mix between glossy and diffuse. And it's sort of like binary in that respect, where it's one or the other. But the nice thing about a grayscale or mathematical value like that, and that's basically what it is. It's technically a data value, but it's often used, like for bump maps, you use the gray values because it turns it basically into a black and white data value. If I'm not mistaken, I could very well be mistaken. But yeah, it basically sets extremes or absolutes, and anything in between that is how it blends together, sort of like a gradient. So this then comes into the mix shader here based on that, and it comes out to the group output, which then comes into another mix shader. And there are lots of mix shaders here, another one I forgot to set up. And I've got a glossy BSDF here based on the base gloss color mixed and the base gloss roughness, which I determined through those sliders at the very beginning of this node group. And the color comes into here. Another GGX. I would have to compare what all these do. I can't remember specifically what the difference is, or the differences are. And then the roughness, which is then used as the shader, which is mixed with the base color shader, which is a mix of different ones, again mixed based on a Fresnel with a refraction of 1.25, which I think is like a plastic. I'm not sure. I can never remember the IOR values for things. I know glass is 1.45 and water is 1.33, and that's it. And then this mix shader comes in and mixes again based on another Fresnel, which is determined by the final gloss amount. Actually, I think it just determines how much gloss you use, in this case anyway. And this is mixed with another glossy shader, which has its color based on the final gloss color and the final gloss roughness. And that's because basically I set it up without this and then realized it wasn't shiny enough, and I put another gloss on top of it, like wax on, wax off. And then this comes out to the mix shader to the group output, which then comes in and mixes with another diffuse set to the back facing like we saw earlier. And the fun thing about reorganizing this node, because that's basically why I'm showing this off, is because I reorganized the whole thing, is because I have all these nodes grouped together, and it's much easier to manage this way, because I can, if I just have to change how the base color interacts with light, I can just choose this group and just edit that portion on its own without messing with the rest of these. So it makes it a bit more modular, and modular things are cool, like bow ties, and it just makes it easier for me to manage. And the previous version, I have it somewhere. It's in this blend file. I just have to... this is a work in progress material library, actually. I've got my golf here as well, just to test out the shader, how this new shader would react with the golf model, or at least the body panels, and a proof of concept I was working on. Where is that? Oh, there it is. That's the original right there. Yeah, this is the original shader. And I just put it in just to have the shader around in the blend file. And this is the, as you can see, this is the shader I built for the Audi A5. Which is why I'm actually reworking this, so I can properly re-render it once I'm done with the interior, and maybe use this blend file as a laboratory of sorts, or laboratory, just so I can develop my materials in a HDRI setup, because I have the environment map here. Whoops, I just duplicated that without meaning to. Yeah, you can see I've got this map. So yeah, this is the original shader, and it's again mixed with a diffuse based on back facing. And this one is set currently to a darker, or a brighter color. And I had a paint base inverts for some reason. I don't know why. I think it was, again, based off of Jonathan Williamson's shader. But I would have to double check. But anyway, this is what the shader looks like originally. And it's a bit messy. And I also improved on the customizability of the shader and the number of things I have to tweak. And of course, I also added the all the flake size values and whatnot, so it's a lot more complicated now, but it's also a lot more powerful, in my opinion. I've done a bit of testing and it looks better. So yeah, you can see all these node wires, they're just crisscrossing all over the place. And that's one of the things I didn't like, because I have trouble figuring out what does what afterwards. Like a year later, looking at this shader, and I'm like, what in the world am I doing here? So that was one of the motivations behind reworking it. And it's basically the same process, except I've got, for some reason, this invert node and the invert amount. And that's what I took out. I basically just removed this entire thing and basically rebuilt the shader from scratch. Where's the other one? Is this it? Oh yeah, there it is. It's just not centered. I'll just move these to the center. There we go. I'm using my Wacom to navigate around Blender all the time now. Yeah, as you can see, I've got the base gloss roughness now. I've got the flake colors, individual colors. I'll just switch this back over here. The individual colors, I've got the flake size, the flake gloss, the final gloss amount. So it's a lot more powerful in my opinion. And if I copy this over here, make it darker, I think, and this one closer to whitish green, it can really influence how the shader looks. If I zoom in here, we can see I've got it set to 50 samples, so it should be enough. But if I turn this flake size up, we can start to see these flakes are really appearing. And it's also based off of, I've mapped the flakes to just a generated, because I was having trouble with them stretching, and that seems to have fixed it, but I'm not sure. I'll probably have to play with that a bit more. And I'm far from being a cycles expert, by the way. But yeah, if I turn the flake gloss amount up, you can see it really affects what the material looks like. And right now it looks kind of cheetah-like. So I've basically set up a few maximum values here just so I can deal with this more easily. and this is also set to a multiplication node. If I just turn this back down, my GPU is just running like crazy right now. If I turn this up, say 0.5, and then go back into that shader, I forgot to mention that the final gloss, where is it? Final gloss amount, I think, or final gloss roughness. I think I'd mapped it to this. I think I flipped it around somewhere. Flake gloss. Where is it? Did I flip it around? I can't remember. I think it's in here. No, it is not. Okay. So I seem to have forgotten something, but I think that was in my plans yesterday to make this not go up to 10, but actually make it go up to 1, and then have that value multiplied in some way so that the actual gloss would almost be like having it at 10. Because beyond 2, it doesn't really change much. It just gets really, really rough, and it doesn't do much. So I'll probably actually turn that down to a maximum of 1, because higher than that, it doesn't do much. If I just turn this back down to 0. Basically, I could use this as a matte material, or like a metallic material, like this, and then just turn the glossy amount up, and that would maybe give me a nice material for like a more matte color. Like the Hyundai Elantra has a silverish color, or it has one of the colors anyway, the new one. It has something sort of like this. I would probably have to turn the flake size up, and that's a bit too high, and just turn the gloss amount up just to make that a bit more apparent. But yeah, that's basically the shader in its current state. It's a lot more powerful than the original version. Let me just turn these back to my defaults. Flake gloss amount was 0.5, I think, and this turned down to 0. This turned down to 2. There we go. That should be more along the lines of what I was looking for, except I've got too much gloss. Or maybe not. Yeah, there we go. That looks good. Yeah, it's that's basically what I've been, or what I worked on yesterday, and I thought it would be an interesting thing to do a video of, and sort of practicing my tutorial recording skills anyway, so I thought it would be a win-win situation. So yeah, I'll just switch over back to my 3D view. So that's basically it, and thanks for watching as always. I only started seeing that recently actually, but thanks for watching anyway, and see you around. Where's my terminal? There it is. I'm recording with the terminal.